activate your TA is like this thing, or like turn on, or like wake it up, or before you do movements, you want to figure out how to use it. And this is kind of like what you typically see with people who are looking to do that. It's a very big thing in physiotherapy, or just exercise therapy in general. And when we talk about the deep core, we're talking about transverse abdominis, but also multifidus. And there are a couple of research papers here, and then a review by Physio Network, or a blog, sorry, looking at if the TA is still a relevant thing. So what they found, 1997 was when this dude called whose last name was Hodges, from the University of Queensland, he basically found that the transverse abdominis and the multifidus were slower to activate than all other muscles in people with low back pain. But there's a lot of issues with this study that didn't come out at the same time as everyone being like, yeah, train your TA, train your multifidus, which was like something I never sort of fully understood, because like training your multifidus is like, it's a subconscious muscle. Like you can't actively be like, yeah, I'm contracting my multifidus. So there's that. You have a little bit more conscious control over your transverse abdominis. However, the issue with this study in particular showed that the research was cross-sectional in design. So a cross-sectional study design is where basically like you have back pain, I don't have back pain, and we're going to test. And they're going to you versus me, as opposed to like me without back pain and me with back pain.
Yeah.
So it was just like seeing who had it. So it wasn't like, doesn't tell you if it's correlative or causative. So someone could have had low back pain and then the muscles start to be slower recruiting, or the inverse. They could have had the slow recruiting and then that happened. They also only showed a 20 to 50 millisecond delay in these muscles, which is apparently super important, which I disagree with. And like the clinical relevance of like, oh, that half second that you took to not activate that multifidus is gonna get you low back. So I don't necessarily agree with that either. And then the other issue is that when we measure EMG, your surface muscles are the best muscles to test with that. If you're trying to test anything that's below surface level musculature, you're going to get some interference of the other surrounding muscles. So the other question is like, are you actually testing the muscles you're trying to test? And then there's been other research by like Stuart McGill, who said that there's delayed activity in other muscles in people who have low back pain. So like maybe it's just all the muscles have delay, and this just one study happened to show that apparently these deep muscles do, based on how they tested deep EMG, and apparently a 20 millisecond delay is clinically relevant. So that's my rant on that. And then we come to like whether you draw in or you brace. So this like drawing in and sort of like, you know, like trying to do what you generally think of like, you know, the T-zone or whatever with your transverse abdominis and bracing that, it will recruit your deep muscles, but it actually reduces the recruitment of any other trunk core bracing stabilizers. And it's therefore less overall effective for recruiting the core as a unit. And I feel like that's the important thing when we're trying to get people to function, not like, can you turn on your multifidus or your TA, but like, can you actually effectively brace to lift the heavy thing off the floor? Bracing, on the other hand, which is like our Valsalva maneuver, which doesn't have to be that intense, contracts all of the muscles, including multifidus and TVA, and is also helpful for heavier loads. And then the side note to that is that most tasks, including lifting up to 30 kilos, only requires 4 to 8% of the core's maximal voluntary contraction to sufficiently stabilize the spine. And generally it happens subconsciously. So that's my rant about why I think TA training in isolation is a waste of time.